Let's go. Chapter number 7. We are up to chapter number 7. We're doing really well. Let's talk about your plan B. What is your plan B? What is plan B? You ask, right? What's plan B? Let's think about it. What would plan B be? What is your plan B? I say, my clients come to me and I say, Anna Bruna, what's your plan B? And they're like looking at me. Let me tell you. Okay, so we need to think about building a smarter safety net. What is that? What is a smart safety net? Think about it. In life, we all have unforeseen, unexpected situations, right? We all deal with, certain risks in life. Sometimes we get sick, sometimes we get injured, or, you have a roof that starts leaking, or your car breaks down unexpectedly. There are all kinds of things that can happen that were not part of the plan. And so that means we have to be ready for it. We have to be prepared for those unforeseen situations. And for that reason, we need to have an emergency fund. So the number one way to have your plan B is to have an emergency fund. And how do you start an emergency fund? Is as follows. You want to look at your monthly expenses, not your fun expenses, just your monthly most necessary expenses, your mortgage or rent, your food, your utility bills, your monthly necessities. You add them all up. Let's just say it comes to $4,000 a month. Well, what you want to do is you want to have minimum of 3 months of those necessities, monthly expenses, put aside for emergency purposes, for in case of an emergency. So if you have $3,000 a month necessary expenses, then you want to have 3 times 3, which is 9. So you want to have $9,000 saved up in a bank account, and that money has to be liquid. It has to be in a safe place, in like a money market account or a CD or something. That money cannot be invested. That money cannot be, you can't use it for other things. The purpose of this money is for emergency purposes. So you leave that in your emergency account. Ideally, you want to have as much as 6 months of expenses put aside, but at the very, very least, you want to have a 3-month expenses put aside. So 3 to 6 months of expenses you want to have put aside for emergency purposes. But oftentimes, or I should say sometimes, people have other means of preparing for emergencies. For example, if you're young, you're lucky and your parents can help you. And if your emergency fund is to go your parents' bank account, right? Listen, as long as you have a plan and you know where your emergency money is coming from, that's all I'm talking about. Have a plan. Whether, maybe you have a trust fund and that's where your emergency money is going to come from. Or you have you have a mortgage, but you also have line of equity. They usually have very small interest rate. So if you have an equity line on your home, in addition to the mortgage, that is money there saved. It's not saved. It's there for you to access it if you need it. So my point being, have a plan B for unforeseen situations. It can be an emergency fund that you set up. It could be a credit of equity line with your bank. It can also be mommy and daddy's bank account, or it could be some other fund or a trust fund and so on. But have a plan. That is my point. Have a plan.